Hello and welcome to Forex London Session live stream. First of all, what we will look at what I was anticipating yesterday and how prices behaved. Alright, if we look at GBP JPY, I was anticipating buys above 165.250 area to potentially fill this area of almost 60 pips, and prices moved exactly as I wanted them to move. And yeah, it moved 60 pips, but the timing was very off. We moved out off of our trading time, so basically I didn't execute it on this trade. On the other hand, if we look at gold, yesterday was FOMC meeting and I was anticipating buys above 1727 area. If you look back at my anticipation before FOMC live stream, I was anticipating buys above 1727 area. I took that buy, secured around 100 pips, and I was anticipating shorts below 1715 area. This trade was actually a mistake. It cost me it was very expensive mistake, but still I am very thankful that I was able to recover my losses. And yeah, this was all from yesterday. We are still down for the week. This this was actually very expensive mistake. I should have lowered my stop loss. I just basically lost a lot on this trade, but I hope so in future we will not make these expensive mistakes. All right, first of all we will remove our analysis, remove everything. We will redo our analysis, and we will look to see how prices can move today. All right, monthly candle is closing in one day. Tomorrow night monthly candle will close. We are rejecting from 1680 area. This rejection is happening in, I will say, last 5 trading days of this candle to close. And still we don't know in monthly where prices can potentially move. If we look at weekly time frame, we created a fresh support at 1707 area. We created a lower wick and we are moving up in last 2 days of this weekly candle. So we will look at smaller time frame, we will look at daily and look to find if we can find something. We have created an initial support in daily at 1695 area, and we also created another support at 1717 area. Both these support levels are basically from previous day. If we look at H4, yeah, basically this was our support at 1715, I guess, yes. And this was our resistance. Both the support and resistance has played out their part, and above that we have another resistance almost 32 pips away. We will look in smaller time frame. If we break above this resistance at 1745, we can keep pushing up till 1765. Let's look at in smaller time frame. If we look at it from smaller time frame, we will see we have an other zone right in here, and if we break above 1744, let's look at what is at 1744. Yes, we will readjust this thing a little bit. Yeah, if we break above 1748, we can potentially keep pushing up in this 175 pips of range. If we look at M30, yes, I was anticipating buys above 1748 to potentially keep pushing up till 1764, 65. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We also have this victory rejection. We need to be very careful of that. And after that, there is pretty much a clean move of 120 pips. And there is a probability we will move and touch that area today, but it all depends. And we are just waiting for candles to close, waiting for them to show us something and that we may execute on. In GJ, we will remove everything. Alright, let's go to monthly. Monthly candle is about to close in 2 days. I was anticipating this monthly candle to flip bullish and continue pushing up, but it seems like we will not continue pushing up because only 2 days left in this monthly candle to close. If we look at weekly, we basically created a support at 163 area, and the current weekly candle is respecting that support. So there is no information in weekly. We are in sort of consolidation in this 250 pips of range. We need to break outside of this area to potentially execute a trade. In daily, if we look at it, we have a support at 163,400 and we have a resistance at 165.840. The previous daily candle closed above all these areas. There is still probability that current daily candle will flip bullish and continue pushing up, but it all depends because we are basically at the end of month, so we need to be very careful. If we look at H4, we created a support at 163,870. We created a resistance at 166 area. So we have these two areas. By looking at H4, we will look at price action in detail by looking at H1 time frame. All right, in 1 hour time frame, we have two areas. We are forming a support right in here, and If we look at M15, we are consolidating in this 22 pips of range. We need to break above or break below this range to potentially execute a trade, but for now there is nothing. In gold, although my analysis was biased in gold and there is probability we will keep pushing up, but at this point I will be just super careful. I'm just waiting for my patterns to appear and I will execute based on those patterns without reservation. So at this point we are just waiting. And we are basically waiting at this point. Waiting in gold, waiting in GJ. Still, I personally feel like we can keep pushing up in gold, but it is very objective at this point. And just waiting for candles to close. We are just waiting. If we look at GJ and 1 hour candles are about to close. and we are waiting because we need to wait for 10 more minutes in London session to open, and then we can anticipate some trades, but at this point it is very risky. If we look at gold, we are consolidating, and in GBP JPY we are also consolidating, waiting for 8 more minutes for candles to close, and then maybe we can get some good trades. And we are just waiting and consolidating. We can get some pretty good trades later on, but at this point we are just waiting. Let's see what we can get. And yes, we are waiting. Don't let losses. We are just waiting for candles to close in 2 minutes. Alright, we are breaking above this minor resistance in last 1 minute of this candle. I am still anticipating shorts. My bias is short in GBP JPY, and I will only execute sells in GBP JPY. So there is no bias at this point. However, I am ready to execute short position, but I want certain criteria to be met so that I can execute a short position. Alright, 1 hour candles have closed. If we look at GJ, we have closed above this area, This candle was all the way bearish in last 10 minutes. We moved 23 pips up and we closed bullish above the resistance. And although we can keep pushing up, but the whole idea is there is no pattern for me to potentially execute a trade, so I will rather wait at this point in GBP JPY. And in gold we have also closed at 1741 above this resistance area, so there is probability if we break above 1742 area we can potentially keep pushing up, but I will say I will just wait. Basically my execution should be on next candle, but I executed pretty early on this trade. If we are to move up, I am not expecting prices to basically touch my stop loss. I am not expecting prices to go back inside the range. So I am waiting for this candle to close, and then maybe we can get some clear picture. I will basically hold this trade because I have seen enough times that it plays out perfectly. Trade is now in 18 pips profit. The whole idea is this move down was very scary. We went in 15 pips drawdown, and I was planning to add back my risk on this candle, but it didn't basically give me any chance to add back my risk, and it will happen in Forex again and again, but I will make sure next time I will be able to capture this